It is no surprise that the dumbest move congressional Republicans have made all year came from the dumbest Republican in Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene's creation of the DOJ subcommittee was an absolute gift to Democrats, especially because of the Democrats who are on the subcommittee. Greg Kazar, Robert Garcia, and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett have the opportunity every week to not only shred Elon Musk, but point out the hypocrisy and idiocy of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that is exactly what Jasmine Crockett just did. Ripped her to shreds, and it led to a screaming Marjorie meltdown. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. It really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into Marjorie's meltdown, of course, we have to start with Jasmine Crockett's call out, and that came right here.
It is so interesting that I just learned today at 44 years old that the Republicans are going to be the ones to save women. The same Republicans that have been saved for women's reproductive acts, or the same Republicans that have stood for the Equal Rights Act, which would hopefully get women to equal pay, or the same Republicans that just this Congress voted for the SAVE Act, which we know would disenfranchise women from even being able to vote. But let me tell you, they are our saviors. And so I am so happy to be here today, because otherwise I would not have an idea that I had a savior in the Republicans. So let's also talk about the fact that it's only been 100 days, 100 long, terrible days for anybody that absolutely believes in reality. Because what we know is that they have terminated staff responsible for enforcing federal protections against sex-based discrimination. Sounds like that's pro-women. Or they've cut funding for domestic violence survivor services. Sounds pro-woman to me. Or they've prohibited funding for research affecting women's health. That definitely sounds pro-women to me. Essentially, they closed the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Again, sounds like they are fighting for us. And instead of providing oversight over these actions, congressional Republicans have been working to execute one of the most aggressive anti-women legislative agendas in history. And yet, they're here today trying to convince the American people that discriminating against trans people is somehow the only way to protect women. This hearing has nothing to do with improving government efficiency. It's another attempt by Republicans to distract from their demonic and disastrous policies that are making it more difficult for Americans to make ends meet. So, Ms. Goss-Graves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Trump.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Trump.
88,000 in Georgia 3, 68,000 in Missouri 7, 79,000 in Tennessee 2, 86,000 in South Carolina 4, 50,000 in Texas 04, 85,000 in Texas 27, and in Georgia 14, 111,000. And if you add that up just on this committee, we have 606,000 kids that are relying on us to do right by them. And instead, we playing these crazy games because we worried about 10 trans folk that are in sports right now in college. I wasn't elected to be engaged in these fights. I was elected to make sure that those kids, the kids that they are about to neglect with these terrible votes that they're about to take, I was elected to protect them and to make sure that they could grow up and have all the opportunities. But let's keep on track. Now, when we look at how much they are spending on, let's look at fraud. We could investigate whether the White House and the members of this subcommittee engaged in insider trading and market manipulation. Maybe it's a coincidence that the chairwoman brought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock the day before Trump announced a 90-day pause on tariffs. But I guess we'll never know. So finally, let's talk about abuse. Like how the Republicans have let Elon steal data of Americans and his competitors to make himself even richer. Look, don't let these hearings distract you from their destruction. This is a rage baiting. Instead, This is rage baiting instead of conducting oversight over the issues that Americans actually care about. And with that, I will yield.
Just ripping her lies to shreds. And obviously, Marjorie Taylor Greene was no fan of that. You could hear her try to interrupt Jasmine with just her annoyed tone at the end. But it didn't stop there, because Marjorie Taylor Greene, already worked up and angry, was then called out when her time expired by Jasmine Crockett. She just lost her mind, started screaming, banging her gavel. You got to see it all and what she had to say after.
Now let's go a little bit further with this.
Madam Chairwoman, your time has expired.
You're not recognized, Miss Crockett. Mr. Liffelt, you wrote a blog post where you said that one day your daughter,
Madam Chair, on a point of order.
This is my time, and I'm the chair of the committee.
No, that was your time. Your time is over, and now we're asking, are we?
The chair has discretion to assign time,
I've lost
and you know
time.
it, sir.
I have lost time.
As long as we have that understanding, that's fine.
I've lost time. I'll let the American people decide who the weirdos are, because I think we know.
So very clearly, an annoyed, angry, out of control Marjorie Taylor Greene. And really what she said there at the end, so hypocritical. We'll see who the weird ones are. It's you, Marjorie, trying to cut Medicaid, attacking vaccines, attacking, middle schoolers who want to play volleyball, trying to, check their parts before they go into a bathroom. You are the weird ones. You want to be involved in our lives. You want to restrict our freedoms. You want to impose your strange, incoherent belief systems upon us while taking no responsibility for the ideas that you put forth that directly contradict your actions. That is the Republican Party. Marjorie Taylor Greene is, unfortunately for them, the not so attractive face of it, and it is why the idea of her running for Senate gets me so excited. But it's not just Jon Ossoff who might be able to call out Marjorie Taylor Greene in the future. Obviously, we saw Jasmine Crockett doing it there. But like I said, this is a star-studded subcommittee for the Democrats. And so Greg Kazar, of course, he took his opportunity to rip into Marjorie Taylor Greene and all of the conspiracy theorists pushing ridiculous ideas in MAGA, and he did so right here.
The Republican majority has called a hearing on anti-Semitism, and so I have some questions for my colleagues on the committee. Donald Trump said after neo-Nazis marched through Charlottesville that there were, quote, very fine people on both sides. If you condemn Donald Trump saying this, will you raise your hand? RFK, the head of Health and Human Services, spread an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that COVID was engineered to target white and black people, but spare Jewish people. If you condemn the head of the U.S. Health and Human Services for spreading this anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, will you please raise your hand? Nobody.
I'd suggest the hearing is to question the witnesses that are here who have spent time and energy to come here.
I have a question for you, Mr. Chairman.
So I think the questioning is...
Mr. Chairman, will you condemn...
I am not on the witness stand.
Mr. Chairman, this is my time, and I'm happy to ask you then. Would you condemn Donald Trump for pardoning a January 6th rioter who praised Hitler and encouraged more killing of Jewish people? Mr. Chairman, since you just used some of my time, you can use more of it. Will you condemn Trump for pardoning an anti-Semitic rioter?
I'm seeing 4 witnesses waiting for your question.
I'm asking you a question, Mr. Chairman. Your microphone works. Do you condemn this?
I will yield time to the witnesses to answer questions that are pertinent.
So clearly, Mr. Chairman, not a single Republican today has been willing to condemn any of this anti-Semitism. Unfortunately, the party of very fine people on both sides, or Jewish space lasers, does not give a damn about stopping anti-Semitism. If my Republican colleagues want to stop the spread of anti-Semitism, maybe they should stop apologizing for and promoting anti-Semites. And with all due respect to the Congresswoman from New York who's back to join us, if Republicans want to fight anti-Semitism, they shouldn't go groveling to the most anti-Semitic president in modern American history. They shouldn't be trying to quell questions about the anti-Semitism that we see at the White House and in the cabinet at the Department of Health and Human Services. In my city of Austin, swastikas have been drawn on the doors of schoolhouses. Synagogues have been firebombed. Anti-Semitism is an assault on our community safety and on all of our values. And we could do something to combat anti-Semitism. In Congress, we could strengthen the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. But instead, Trump has cut it, and my Republican colleagues have done nothing about it. Congress could strengthen anti-hate crime programs to address anti-Semitic violence. Trump has cut those programs. Again, Republican members of Congress done nothing about it. We could fully fund the security programs we have for Jewish nonprofits and synagogues, but Trump has frozen those programs. So Republicans have called this hearing on anti-Semitism, but they've cut back our ability to address hate crimes, have cut back our ability to protect synagogues, have cut back our ability to protect students from discrimination. But what they have ramped up is deporting students for writing op-eds in their campus newspaper advocating for peace. What they have ramped up is arresting nonviolent professors and students, Jewish and not Jewish, just because they dare talk about the killing and starvation in Gaza. This hearing, called by the Republican majority, is all about Trump Republicans distorting the definition of anti-Semitism to silence anyone, including Jewish students, who speak out nonviolently against what the Israeli government is doing. The Republican plan is not about keeping Jewish students safe. It's about keeping the Israeli government safe from any form of criticism. That is a disservice to the truth. It is a disservice to us and our job as members of Congress, and it's a disservice to the safety of everyone, including and especially Jewish Americans. I yield back.
Like I said at the beginning of this video, it is insane to me that Marjorie Taylor Greene created a committee for Democrats to exclusively call out Elon Musk and allowed our best communicators on that committee to rip her to shreds, to call out Elon, to call out the inconsistencies, the criminality of Doge. Beautiful. If that is anything like what her Senate campaign might be, we are in for a treat. We really are. And I'm not going to stop talking about this Senate campaign. I'm going to will it into existence. I know that there are a lot of y'all who are potentially worried. All right, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Anyone can win any race. Maybe there is an outcome in which Marjorie Taylor Greene wins. We have doomed too much. Let's have a little hope for a future in which not only does Jon Ossoff blow out Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she loses her seat in the House. Can we not have just a little bit of hope for the fight ahead? I'm going to. I hope you do as well. We're going to be talking about it on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.